Casey.
Thank you, Deputy Speaker. Well, the MPI, it's always a nice occasion to sit and listen to those opposite. I like to make sure I'm here for the whole debate because you get some insights. And we just got an interesting insight from the member for Jaga then, and summed up quite nicely the challenges this government face, with 5 minutes to talk about being in government for 20 months and outline the amazing achievements of the Albanese government. The member for Jaga and those opposite spent 4 minutes then, the member for Jaga, talking about the opposition, talking about our side of this chamber. Well, they're in government, they've got the ability to make decisions. The 1 minute she did talk about what they've achieved, we're talking about $15 a week in 5 months for the Australian people. It very much sums up this Albanese government. The Australian public know, and we know, that all of last year, all of 2022, they were distracted. The word cost of living, Middle Australia, was not used by the Prime Minister or the Treasurer. They've used it a lot in the last 6 weeks since Christmas, but just using a word does not mean that you're actually delivering for the Australian people, and the Australian people know that. And we get a little bit of frustration on the other side when we're talking about this car tax that's going to add up to $25,000 to a ute. There's a lot of tradies in Casey that are worried about this tax. And what we get from the Minister references the United States fuel efficiency system. He references that system. But he leaves a little bit of the detail out about some important differences. Now, I'm going to quote from one industry figure. I don't think anyone would be opposed to us copying what they have in the USA. What they've proposed looks nothing like what they have in the USA. So what's he talking about, this industry source? They are talking about the US model where there is an exemption on vehicles. In the US, if a vehicle is over 3.86 metric tonnes, it is exempt from the fuel efficiencies. And perversely in the real world, that's one of the reasons that you see so many large vehicles in the United States, because manufacturers are making sure that they get above that 3.86 metric tonnes. So what's the proposal from this government in Australia? They are looking at a 4.5 metric tonne exemption. 4.5. And I'll let the Australian people in on a little secret of why they've put it up to 4.5 metric tonne, because that will mean it will get all those utes that the tradies of Casey need to tow their work trailer. It'll get the family SUV that you need in my electorate to make sure you can put the pram in your SUV, take your children to school, take them to sport, because public transport isn't readily available in an electorate like mine. So that is a core and fundamental difference. So every time this Prime Minister, this Treasurer, the Minister for Climate Change stands up and references the United States fuel efficiency system, they are willingly misleading the Australian people. They're either misleading the Australian people or they're not across the detail of what's involved in their own policy. It's one or the other, because that is in their policy, that significant change. And that sums up the Albanese Labor government. It's all about the headline. It's all about the headline, not about the detail. But the detail matters. That's why this will drive costs up. It's why it's not relevant to compare the US model. We know this Prime Minister does not understand the challenges of the Australian people. The biggest question he has to work out is what is he going to wear to Taylor Swift, and how does he make sure that it doesn't double up when he goes to see Katy Perry at Raheem? That's the toughest decision this Prime Minister made on the weekend. What was the change in outfit from Taylor Swift to Katy Perry? Because that's what he thinks about. He's been in this place since 1996. It revolves around the actions of Parliament and making sure he enjoys the trappings of the role for as long as he can. But that does not solve the cost of living crisis that the people of Casey and the people of Australia are facing today.
Member for Holt.